Hey everyone, welcome to Reorientation Week presented by Her Campus and Coke with Coffee. So excited for you all to be here for our first session today. And welcome to a new semester. A new semester is so exciting. It means that you can start fresh, set new goals, and get reorganized. And honestly, it doesn't matter where you're spending the semester, whether you're at home, in your dorm, or in an apartment. We all know how tough that afternoon slump can be, and so excited to talk about some tips for that today. And as much as we all love a good morning routine, we're going to let you in on a little secret. Afternoon routines can be a total game changer. Staying focused in the middle of the day can boost productivity, helping you make the most out of each day. And this week is really for you. So we want to help you find that afternoon routine and help you, the go-getters out there, achieve your goals. And we're giving you everything that you need to achieve big things this semester and beyond. So let's dive in today. Before we begin the conversation, I want to introduce you to everyone who's on the panel today. Starting with myself, my name is Laura, and I'm the Influencer Marketing and Community Manager here at Her Campus Media. Some of you may know me from our Influencer Collective community or College Fashionista, but really excited to chat all things afternoon routines today. Maddie, do you want to go next?
Yes. Hey guys, I'm Maddie. I'm the social media manager here at Her Campus Media. I oversee social for Her Campus, Spoon University, and College Fashionista. I'm very excited to talk about my afternoon routine with you guys today. So yay, I'm happy to be here. Ashley, why don't you go?
Yes. Hey guys, super excited for today. My name is Ashley and I'm Her Campus's Influencer Marketing and Community Associate. So working really closely with the Influencer Collective and College Fashionista communities. But so excited for today's conversation. And before we dive into it, I have to know what flavor you guys are drinking today.
Yes.
Mine.
Today I'm caramel.
I have a dark blend and it's everything.
Yay. I'm Paula. So let's crack it open and do a cheers.
Woo! Cheers.
Cheers.
Happy afternoon.
All right.
Oh, so good.
I cannot wait any longer, you guys. I have to talk about my afternoon routine. Here's the thing about me. I'm a big list person. Like, lists bring me so much joy. I spend time every morning and every afternoon making lists of things that I want to get done each day. But I also make daily lists and then I make monthly and weekly lists as well. I know it's been a game changer for me. And then my daily ones that I make, I break them into morning and afternoon so I can decide, how I'm going to spend my day.
That's amazing. And I'm definitely trying to start making more lists. I constantly find myself just pulling up the little notes section on my laptop, which I think is a great place to jot things down. But I totally feel more accomplished when I'm using pen and paper and crossing things off. So
same.
One goals.
Honestly, like there is no more satisfying feeling than like writing something down and just crossing it off. Like I've been right. Like I've been guilty of like doing something real quick and then like adding it to my list and then scratching it off because I did it. That doesn't count.
Feels so good.
Right. It really does. But once I start to feel that afternoon slump coming on, I usually will take a break. I will regroup with myself and spend some time, and honestly, anywhere from like 10 to sometimes 30 minutes to go over my checklist. I use this time as like a midday treat for myself. So, I might grab my Coke with coffee and look over my to-do list to try and refocus what I'm working on that day and make sure that I actually accomplish all of my goals for that day. I also do a brain dump. So I
love brain dump.
Like we talked about, I love pen to paper. So I'll do a brain dump of anything that came up throughout the day that I want to add to my list. And honestly, on days where I don't give myself enough time in the afternoon to regroup, I find myself struggling to get things off my checklist. And I can be really exhausted and just like not in it that day. So having that little afternoon refresh really does give me something to look forward to in the afternoon. Again, I grab my cup of coffee, I do a big brain dump, organize my to-do list. And it honestly just helps the days go by and it helps me be as productive as possible. So I love a good list and a good brain dump. So now I want to hear what you guys do. Laura, you list, yay, nay, tell me everything.
I love all of that. And I also love making lists, but I'm definitely not as detailed as you are. So I might have to try some of those tips out, breaking it by week and month and all of that fun stuff. Also agree that there's nothing better than crossing things off. I am also guilty of writing things down that I've already done. So pro tip, if you don't do that, it'll help you feel so much more accomplished. But otherwise, when I'm thinking about my afternoon routine, I'm kind of different in that I actually prefer to have my coffee in the early afternoon as a little pick me up. So I don't wake up first thing and have it. I like starting with water and really diving into my day. And the afternoon is where I usually need a little pick me up. So I'll grab my Coke with coffee with lunch or something like that. And it really helps me reset for the rest of my day.
Wow. I'm so jealous, Laura. I have to wake up and have coffee immediately, which I think a lot of people can relate to, but also,
Definitely.
Yeah, like you said, drink water in the morning, kind of like wake up, see how the day is going, and then kind of reward yourself with that. So I'm going to slowly try to start getting out of that habit, but I'm impressed that you can hold out that long because I cannot.
Definitely. No, I feel you. And honestly, the only way that I'm able to have that afternoon reset is that I actually am a huge fan of blocking off an hour for my lunch on my calendar. Otherwise, it's so easy to get booked. Yes, highly recommend. It's so easy to get overbooked, and then you're eating lunch at your desk and stuff, which is fine sometimes, but it's really, really important to kind of separate that time and prioritize yourself. So step one for me in my afternoon routine is prioritizing making time for myself in the first place. And I think it's so, so important to do that.
That's so smart. I honestly I'm slightly embarrassed that I never thought of that, because I am very much the person where if it's not on my calendar, it's just not happening. And so there have been days where I find myself not taking a lunch break, or just kind of, just trying to get through it. Right. So I love that. I think I'm going to try that, where I actually block off a specific time on my calendar to do my little afternoon refresh, take a break, have my treat, have my lunch, whatever. That's genius, Laura.
Yeah, no, I highly recommend. You'll definitely have to try it and let me know your thoughts, because I think it's so important, as you've been saying. And I do like to make sure that I'm having some off screen time too, because I know that we're looking at screens all day, whether it's the medium screen, as people say, our laptops, or the mini screens over on our phones. But at the same time, our screens can really be great for connecting with others too. So sometimes during my lunch break, I like FaceTiming with friends. My best friend actually works in the same industry that I do. So sometimes it's really fun to, brainstorm with her and just chat about trends, but also just catch up on each other's lives virtually. So that's another really fun way that you can kind of stay connected during this time and really take a break and reset and get some time with your friends. But Ashley, I would love to hear what your routine looks like, because I know you're out there in Los Angeles on PST. Tell us what that looks like for you.
Yes. Well, now I can back myself up with needing coffee first thing in the morning, because my day usually starts.
Definitely.
Yeah, my day usually starts around 6:30, because that's obviously 9 a.m. East Coast time. I'm out in LA, so working on those hours can be a little challenging. And I think anyone who's maybe taking classes in a different time zone can relate.
Mm-hmm.
On an internship with different hours. So you really have to find what works best for you. And I find that if I give myself a little more time in the morning, which for my coworkers is usually around afternoon, it just really makes me feel like more productive throughout the day, as we've kind of been talking about. So really closing the laptop, making time to take a lunch break, all of that. But since my afternoon usually starts once my day is over with, I really like to take a walk and get fresh air, because I still have a really long part of my day left. So I want to make sure that I will be productive. So I think that's one thing that I really try to kind of incorporate into my life, is making sure I take time for myself.
I love that. But let's back up for a second. Sorry, Maddie, because I don't know how you get up that early. I am not a morning person whatsoever. I'm 100% a night owl. And so I definitely need that midday boost. But I feel like if I got up any earlier than I did now, I would definitely have to start with some Coke with coffee, because I don't know how you do it. Maddie, are you a morning person or a night person? What do you think?
I'm a morning person, but I think the coolest thing about what you said, Ashley, that I wanted to highlight was that there's no right or wrong way to have an afternoon routine, right? If you are waking up at 6:30, you don't have to have your afternoon routine at 11, right? That doesn't make sense for you. And so I think that's the cool part about these routines is you make them work for you. So you try a bunch of different things. That's what I'm doing right now with my morning routine, right? Trying to find what works for me, because I feel like my afternoon routine is set, we are golden there. And I think that's the cool thing, is that you can take all of these tips that we're giving and try them out and see what works for you and what doesn't. But honestly, Ashley, there's just so much respect for you, because I don't know how you,
so
how you do it. It's just so impressive.
You bring up a good point though. It's about splitting up your day. It's not about a specific time, like, oh, 12 p.m. is lunchtime. It's how you can break up your day, whether you're working or going to school, and kind of dividing that time. So love that. But yeah, Ashley, major props to you.
Yeah, no, I love all of this. And I think another good thing is like, yeah, again, finding what works best for you, but also realizing that you're kind of more productive when you do give yourself breaks. Cause I do find myself kind of always looking at the clock and, it might be 9 a.m. for me and I'm super productive, but a lot of my coworkers are taking a lunch break. And that might be the same for you because if you have different classmates on different schedules, all of that, it can be hard to kind of get in the groove of things. But I do find that even when it's 12 o'clock at my time, and my coworkers are wrapping up their day, I still need to take that break, and I find myself more productive if I just close my laptop for 30 minutes versus kind of like piling through and rushing through because then I'm just overwhelmed and kind of stressed out. So I think it's regardless of what your situation is, like definitely make sure that you're kind of structuring your schedule as we've been talking about.
Absolutely.
It's also smart too, like sorry, Laura, but like because maybe your school day, like your classes aren't the exact same every single day. Like you can have your afternoon routine at noon one day and 3 p.m. the next day, right? There are no rules. That's again, the beauty of this. And it's just, you do what's best for you. And that goes back to taking time for yourself. I like to have my afternoon slump hits around 2 p.m. So that's when I like to take my break. But sometimes I might be feeling that at 1, or sometimes I don't feel it until 3:30. Like I still do those things that I do for myself, whether that is like you guys said, close my laptop, like take a walk real quick around the block, or just like have no screens and just like I do do a brain dump, right? Or just sit and enjoy your cup of coffee. Like that's cool too. There are no right and wrong way to do that. And I love the flexibility of that. That's why I like social media so much too, because it's so flexible and it's ever changing. And so I just,
very true.
I feel like I'm going to try all these tricks now, all your guys' advice.
Yeah, no, definitely learning so much. And you bring up a good point because I used to love going out, and going to a coffee shop to change up my day, or, something like that, where I would physically take a break and go out and somewhere new. But right now, it's a little bit more difficult to do that. So I love that I can just have some Coke with coffee stocked in my fridge and really take that break whenever I want to. It doesn't matter if I have a lot of meetings later on or if I have time to go out and take a walk or a coffee shop. I can really take that me time and it's really, really accessible. So I love that. I'm actually curious to hear from both of you when you feel like you're the most productive, because sometimes if I get up really early and I'm on my computer before, anyone else is, and I don't have a lot of meetings or a lot of emails yet, I feel like I can get so much done. But the same is also true after hours, and not that I'm advocating to stay on work late, but sometimes it's just so helpful for me to have that alone time where no one's messaging me, there's no meetings, and I can knock a bunch of stuff out. Ashley, do you have any thoughts on that? Because you probably feel afternoon, but I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think it's something that everyone should kind of test out, right? I've done this myself because I am in such a unique situation with my job and working on a different time zone. But I think for me, it actually is the morning. But for, I guess, coworkers, that would be around their lunchtime. So I would say around 9 a.m. I feel like I'm really zoned in. I'm like fully awake. I've had my coffee, my different drinks and everything. So I like to really acknowledge that and kind of do, maybe not like tasks that I'm not necessarily wanting to do, but just tasks that I know that I'm not really going to want to do towards the end of the day when I'm getting that afternoon slump or not really feeling, my best. So I think that's so important, is kind of like realize when you're really in the zone and really like productive. That can also really help beat the afternoon slump. And then you can kind of use that moment.
Totally.
Exactly. I feel like for me, honestly, like it varies. So some days I feel like I'm like so productive right before I know I'm going to take a break, because it's almost like a treat for myself. I'm like, okay, Maddie, like you need to get XYZ done. And then you can have your Coke with coffee. Then you can close your laptop for 30 minutes. Like you got it. And then other times it's just like, I'm just trying to make it to the afternoon. I have my little refresh. And then I'm like, okay, we got like 5 things to do before 5:30, like bing, bang, boom, like I'm crushing it. And then there's other times when I wake up and like I start working at 9 and it's 10:30 and I've like done everything on my morning list. And I'm like, oh, is she,
so good.
Right. It's just like, Yeah, it's something really satisfying about crossing everything off your list. And I find that the more that I like listen to my body about what it wants and needs, the more often I actually am crossing every single thing off my list. Whereas if I just worked straight and I didn't give myself a break and I was staring at my computer and then staring at my phone, I would get to the end of the day and still have like 6 or 7 things to do, and it's 5:30.
Yep.
Right? Whereas now, as we're talking about giving ourselves, and it doesn't have to be a full hour or whatever, it can be 10 minutes to just sit, do some stretching, whatever, do whatever you have to do, have your Coke, like just chill for a minute and give your brain that little bit of a rest. And that way you can be your best, most productive self in the afternoon. So that was a long answer, but
no, I loved all of that. Are you kidding? It's so important to work when you're most productive and to kind of listen to yourself, right? If you need to have a little pick me up, if you need to close your laptop for a minute, listen to those things and do them, because they're going to make you a lot more productive later on. It's totally fine to recognize what you need now, take that break, and then get back into it later when you're in a little bit of a better mindset and things like that. So speaking of, I would love to hear from both of you if you have any special hacks for marking out those productive times in your day or making things really productive. I know that I talked about blocking out my lunch hour, but I also love blocking out time. If I have a really important project or something that I need to focus on, I might block out 30 minutes or an hour just so I know I can put my head down and dedicate my time to that without getting pulled in so many different directions. Do you have anything like that that our listeners could implement into their afternoon routines to make themselves super productive?
Yeah, that's a really, really good thing to think about. And kind of going back to like thinking of when you're most productive and when you're going to be able to get the most done. Definitely something I take into consideration. So mine's pretty simple. I like to take at least 10 minutes at the beginning and the end of the day to completely focus on my inbox. I don't know if anyone else out there is receiving a bunch of emails, but this is something that I feel like can be hard to keep up with throughout the day. So I really like to just set aside like a timer almost and just kind of go through all of my emails, maybe some that weren't as urgent, but I do need to get back to. So I find that setting aside time for maybe simple tasks is kind of a good thing, just because then it won't fall off the radar and also, keeps you accountable for getting everything done. What about you?
I am such an inbox zeroer. But yeah, Maddie, I'd love to hear your tips.
Well, please don't ever look at my inbox because it is not zero. But I think what I like to do, so again, I go back to lists. Like I literally have my list next to me right now. Like I love her. And what I'll do in the afternoon when I make my morning and afternoon list is I will take time to think about what is going to make my morning easier. So if it's 2:30 and I have my list that I'm ready to start talking about, I'm ready to start thinking about, I will think, okay, I'm going to have about 30 more minutes at the end of my day that I can either spend on my inbox, but like, that's usually not the case. I'll do something that I would do on tomorrow's morning list. And just thinking about getting in that routine of like, okay, if I do have like a little bit of extra time, either in the morning or the afternoon, what can I do to make the next like 4 hours of my day a little bit easier? Or if it's in the afternoon,
I love that.
in the morning, like a little bit easier, right? It's like self-care for your future self. It's just trying to get like as much as you can done while like not going overboard, and just again, taking a moment for your future self and be like, because you love her, you appreciate her, and you want your morning to go well. So that's what I do. I will think about if I have a day, and honestly, it's not every day that I'm able to do stuff for the next morning.
Totally.
But it is easy enough to do one extra thing for myself. I usually do like the small things that I'm not going to want to do in the morning. So yeah, I just add something to my afternoon routine or afternoon to-do list that will help my morning self. And I find that to be, honestly, like a mood booster in the morning, where like if I might be like dreading having to do one thing, and then I'm like, oh, after somebody did that, like we're good.
Yes.
And then you're up, productive, you're crushing things. Yeah. But yeah, going back to the inbox, mine's not cute right now.
I have to have inbox zero. I don't know how you are, Ashley, but I love clearing that out.
There. Yeah, I think all of these are great tips. And one thing too that I think is really important to kind of think about, and also something that definitely affects how I could avoid an afternoon slump, is figuring out like what environment I work best in. So for me personally,
Yes.
I enjoy being at my desk the majority of the day, but if I find myself getting a little antsy or maybe stressed out or just kind of in a blah mood, I think switching up my environment also helps, which is hard right now, obviously, given things going on. But even just going in the living room, going in the kitchen, I like really move around my house. So Laura, what do you do to like switch up your environment?
Yeah, I love that. I am a big work from couch or bed person, which I know usually people say is the opposite of productive, but sometimes switching up that environment makes me so much more productive. If I'm relaxed, maybe I don't have meetings, I can just really get into the zone. If you don't have multiple rooms in your space, even just standing and acting like you have a standing desk and maybe putting your laptop on some books is really helpful. But I also think it's important to have the right products around you. So I always have my Coke with coffee, of course, but I might have like a lotion or something just to relax and calm myself down and really set myself up for success. What about you, Maddie?
That's an excellent question. I feel as though I do work really well when I'm like sitting at a table, but obviously, well, I live in New York City and like my apartment's not that big, so there's only so many places I can go. But I've found recently that the more I move around for like different tasks, the more productive I feel. So when I have meetings, I will sit at my table so I have, a presentable background. When I am just like cranking through Instagram things or I'm doing stuff on social media that I don't necessarily need to be looking at my laptop for, I'll go and lay on my bed and be on my phone for 30 minutes. Or sometimes if I'm just like, I just like need a change, I will do my afternoon routine, grab my Coke with coffee, go sit on my couch and just like have a moment. So I feel like
yes,
my body knows that like when I'm sitting at my table, like we're productive, like my face is on for meetings. When I'm sitting on my bed, it's like time to get on social and make sure everything's good there. When I'm on my couch, it's like time to like just get to work and get things done. And so I feel like my body has been like trained to do that since we can't really go anywhere right now.
Yep.
Which I kind of like. And I feel it's helping my productivity throughout the day. But I kind of want to try like maybe not taking meetings from like my bed, but like just doing something else when I don't have meetings and trying to be productive in my bedroom, because that could help with the whole change of scenery. But as Ashley mentioned, like having the products that you like and that help you right around you is so important. So again, like I have my Coke with coffee, I have my notebook, I have my hot pink pen, I have my list, like, there's anything you guys know about me right now. I love a good list. And so I feel like, again, having stuff around you that makes you feel productive, or is even like just less distracting, the better. Yep. And that can be difficult if you're in a dorm room or if you're sharing a house with a bunch of people at school. That can be difficult, but even like a different corner of your bedroom, like spice it up a little bit. Again, there's no wrong answer here, which I love.
Definitely. It's so important to have those different spaces because, like you're saying, maybe you do need to be game face on, super productive, and you can sit at that table and be super organized and ready to go. And that puts you in that mindset to get through that afternoon slump. But sometimes you have to listen to your body and you can be a little bit more relaxed, or even just switching things up can help you be so productive. So love all of this advice. I would love to talk now about goals when it comes to all of this, whether your goal is to even just start setting up your afternoon routine, or maybe you kind of have some sort of routine, but now your goal is to really improve on it. Ashley, what are yours? Let's start with you.
Yes, I love this. New year, let's get some goals out there. I think for me, just kind of going back, beating the afternoon slump, let's figure out how we're going to be productive. I definitely want to continue, but also get better at, which sounds crazy to you guys, but still waking up early and making sure that I'm awake once I'm like starting to work, So I feel like this can apply to anyone, like whether you're taking classes, maybe you have a different schedule every day, even waking up like 30 minutes before you're supposed to actually start working or joining a meeting for class, whatever it may be. I think it's really important to kind of establish that routine. And again, just going back to giving yourself that time. This is great for the morning, great for the afternoon. So I think, again, with all of your tips too, I definitely want to try the calendar blocking off. I think that's important for lunch breaks, and kind of just realizing that at the end of the day, if not everything is done, that's okay. There's tomorrow, and just recognizing that. What about you, Maddie?
No, I love that. I feel like mine's like a two-parter. So what you just said about like being kind to yourself, if even if you don't get everything done, right? Like
Yep.
if my inbox, well, again, my inbox is not ever at zero, but if it's not at zero at the end of the day, like that's totally fine. Like it's okay, you know, give yourself a little bit, cut yourself a little bit of slack. So
Yes.
one of my goals this year is to do that, is to remind myself that I'm just a human and I'm trying to do my best work. And even if I don't get everything on my like beautiful to-do list done, it's fine. You know, it's fine. The other part of it is I want to actually enjoy my routine, right? I want to feel like when I'm taking that time for myself, I'm not like, oh, I have to do a brain dump, or I can't look at my computer, or I have to go outside even though it's 30 degrees outside, right? I want to actually do like I want to actually enjoy what I do. Does that make sense? Like I want to like
Yes.
and that's a goal for me. So
I
yeah.
absolutely love that.
Yeah, Laura, what about you?
I would say my number one goal right now is to simplify the simple things, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like I used to get so wrapped up in having this crazy routine, whether it was my skincare routine or a crazy complicated coffee routine. And so, number one, made that easier by switching out to Coke with coffee because it's just in my fridge and ready to go. But I also think that I can simplify the things that I don't need to get so stressed out about, right? So, making sure that my calendar is up to date the night before so that the next day I'm ready to go. Maybe meal prepping will be in my future so that my lunches are ready earlier. I just want to figure out how I can be more productive in small ways like that really help me focus on some of the big things that I really need to be productive on.
That's so smart. And I feel like routines have a lot to do with that, right? Like you mentioned, making sure your calendar is up to date for tomorrow. That's giving yourself like a little extra
Yes,
something.
setting yourself up for success.
Right, exactly. So I feel like we've talked a lot about routines, but I want to know from you guys, what is your favorite part of your routine? I want to know. Tell me everything.
Ooh.
That's a good question. Let me start. I think for me, it's kind of just getting my day going because I'm very specific about how my day has started since I'm obviously up before the sun rises. But for me, I just love like starting my day off on a fresh note. I am a clean freak. So the moment I wake up, my bed is made. I light the candle. I have all of my lamps on, and my room is spotless because I just need a clean environment to work in. That's kind of just something that pretty much stays the same for me every day. I would love to obviously keep waking up a little earlier to improve that, but I don't know. I'm just big on having like a nice environment to spend my day in, especially knowing that I can't go anywhere. So that's definitely one of my favorites. But what's yours, Laura?
Yeah, that's so important. I would say that my favorite part of my routine right now is reflecting on all of the things that I've accomplished for the day. I think it's so easy in the afternoon once you kind of hit that wall to be stressed out about all the things that you haven't done yet. You know, Maddie was talking about giving yourself grace, but I love when I can sit down and actually reflect on everything that I have done because it makes me feel so good, so accomplished, and helps boost that productivity to finish the rest of my day. What about you, Maddie?
I feel like you just said, like looking back at my list and seeing everything that I've already done. But then also I really do enjoy organizing the rest of my day. So I know exactly when I'm supposed to be doing what. And the time that I do that is when I'm sitting and having my afternoon refresh. I'm sipping my Coke with coffee. I'm cranking things out on my to-do list. I'm doing my brain dump. And just being able to look forward to having that afternoon refresh. And like utilizing that time the best that I see fit, whether that is like we've been talking about going for a walk, whatever it is, doing a brain dump, and just being able to look forward to something. I actually love that. I look forward to my afternoon routine. I find it's been a game changer for sure.
I love that. You can definitely create an afternoon routine that you look forward to. And that in and of itself, when you get up, if you get up at 6:30, like Ashley, like can really help you take on the rest of your day. So I love that. That is incredible. Well, that sadly brings us to the end of our session today, but thank you both so much for your amazing insights. I know I'm going to try so many things, so I can only imagine our audience got just as much value. For everyone out there, be sure to tell us what your favorite productivity hack is on social using hashtag HC Reorientation Week. And be sure to tune in tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern for our next session, which will be all about things creative organization related. And Annie and Madeline are going to be hosting that one, so you don't want to miss it. But thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you, Maddie and Ashley, for joining me today. And I hope you have a great rest of your afternoons.
Hey, bye guys.
Bye.